Your sister's baby shower is the family's priority. We can't attend your wedding, my mom said. I replied, that's fine. They had no clue I owned a $2 million villa in Maui. When they saw the pictures from our ceremony, they were speechless. I received 101 missed calls. Hey, Reddit. My mother has a knack for saying the precise thing that can shatter me, then acting like she had no idea what she'd done. So when she called that afternoon, her voice unusually bright, I should have sensed something was off. I was in my small apartment kitchen stirring a pot of chai when the phone rang. I answered with a smile because wedding planning had put me in a cheerful mood, ready to share my joy. Hey, Mom, I said happily. There was a pause. A breath. Then her voice became tense, sweet. Honey, about your wedding date, I froze. The chai hissed behind me, bubbling too vigorously. What about it? Another breath, this one heavier. Well, your sister's baby shower is that weekend. I blinked. So, the whole family has to be there, she said sharply. Her pregnancy is the priority right now. We can't come to your wedding. My grip tightened around the phone. My wedding? My once-in-a-lifetime moment. Dismissed in a single sentence. You're not coming, I whispered. Mom continued as if explaining something rational. It wouldn't be fair to your sister. You know how delicate she is right now. And frankly, she needs support more. A wedding is just for a day. A baby is forever. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because crying felt like the only other option. So, you won't come to your own daughter's wedding because my sister is having a baby shower? She's pregnant, sweetheart, Mom insisted. You'll understand one day. I didn't shout. I didn't plead. I just stared at the wall as something within me sank like a stone. That's fine, I said quietly. Mom hesitated. Are you sure? Yes, I whispered. That's fine. We hung up. My chai burned. My heart burned more. For years, my family had treated my achievements as background noise to my sister's spotlight. Got a new job? Oh, that's nice. Your sister just got promoted. Bought my first car? Well, your sister's pregnant. That's more important. Got engaged? Your sister's cravings are so funny. Listen to this. The oceanfront villa, the one I bought in Maui after years of saving, investing, and juggling 2 jobs, was completely unknown to them. And I preferred it that way because peace is something you protect. Peace is something you don't share with those who view your happiness as competition. I had spent years building a life they never bothered to ask about. And now, they were about to discover exactly what ignoring me had cost them. 2 days after that painful phone call, my fiancé and I boarded our flight to Maui, just as we had planned for months. We walked into the villa, the warm scent of salt and lemon blossoms in the air, with floor-to-ceiling glass walls and infinity pools spilling toward the ocean. White stone steps led directly to the beach. My fiancé set down the suitcases and looked at me with a soft smile. They don't deserve this, he murmured. I leaned into his chest. No, I agreed. They don't. We spent the evening decorating the patio for the ceremony. Candles, drapes, tropical flowers, a soft arch overlooking the ocean. I could hear the waves whispering against the shore, as if the island itself was telling me, you did the right thing. You chose yourself. The morning of the ceremony felt magical. I slipped into my dress, simple, elegant, with pearl-beaded straps and flowing silk that brushed the floor like a whisper. My fiancé looked at me like I was the sunrise. We exchanged vows barefoot in the sand. The sun sank into the ocean as if blessing us. A small group of friends clapped and cried, and for the first time in my life, I didn't think about who wasn't there. I focused on the love in front of me, the life we were starting, the peace I had chosen. After the ceremony, we took dozens of pictures, laughing, kissing, letting the ocean breeze tangle our hair. Photos that looked like magazine covers, filled with more joy than all my childhood birthdays combined. Later that night, as the moon shimmered over the water, I uploaded one single picture, my husband and me standing on the villa's balcony, the ocean stretching endlessly behind us. The caption read, "Best decision of my life in more ways than one." That was it. Just one sentence, but it was enough. Within minutes, my notifications exploded. 20 messages, 40, 60, 81, 101. My phone was overheating. My family had seen the photos. All of them. They saw the villa, the ceremony, the ocean, the luxury, the happiness that didn't include them. Their voices, angry, shocked, breathless, began pouring through the phone. My sister texted first, "You got married without us." My mother, "Where are you? Whose house is this?" My father, "Explain yourself now." My aunt, "You shouldn't have done this. Your sister's crying." My sister again, "Are you in Maui? Call us immediately." My family wasn't concerned for me. They were shocked because, for the first time in my life, I had accomplished something extraordinary without their approval. I put the phone down on the table, walked out to the balcony, let the ocean wind brush over my hair, and whispered to myself, "Now they finally noticed." But nothing prepared me for what they said when I finally picked up the phone. The moment I answered, my mother screamed something that froze me in place, something that changed everything. And that's when the real storm began. For a second, the ocean didn't sound like the ocean at all. It sounded like the hollow in my chest answering, "How could you do this without us?" My mother shrieked, "Did you steal the money? Who gave this to you? Answer me, girl." Her voice was filled with panic and outrage, the two feelings my family always expressed when things got too big for them to handle. I let the phone grow warm against my ear and watched the moon sketch a silver line across the water. Behind my chest, something slow and steady settled. Not triumph, not malice, but the calm certainty of someone who finally knows their own mind. "Mom," I said, my voice steady, "I did not steal anything. I paid for this myself." The silence that followed was rich and stunned, like someone realizing the rules had changed. "You what?" Her voice became thin, sharp with disbelief. "Paid for yourself? With what? A magic wand? Who did you lie to?" "Not with a magic wand," I told her. "With years of hard work, investments, and a small inheritance I used wisely. I saved. I invested. I made choices. I didn't take from anyone." There was a rustle of papers and a loud exhale as my father tried to collect his thoughts on the other end of the line. "You always had to be the one to do things alone," he said finally, but it sounded different from an accusation. It was the crack of someone caught off guard. My sister's ringtone started again, then voices, texts piling up like an avalanche. For the next 10 minutes, my phone wouldn't stop ringing, 101 calls if you count every desperate little ring. They flooded me with everything they were capable of. Shock turned into blame, then pleading. "How could you not tell us? This is embarrassing. We have obligations. You owe us an explanation and a refund." The words blurred around me like a tide. Then it got worse. A new flavor of entitlement. Claire texted in all caps, followed by emoji hearts and threats about legal action. "If you used anything that belonged to the estate," she wrote, "we'll have this sorted." She didn't understand the careful planning of my life. She didn't grasp compounding interest and dividends or the long, painful process of saving for decades. She had never stayed up late with spreadsheets while everyone else slept. She had never turned down a night out just to keep saving for a future that made sense. Finally, when the flood of messages turned into frantic voicemails, my mother offered her last old trick: guilt. "Think of your grandchildren," she said, her voice now small and pleading. "We were there for you. Don't make us live without you." Hearing her used to unravel me, but now something steeled in my chest. The man who had fixed leaky gutters, balanced budgets, and made mortgage payments on time for 30 years had learned one fundamental lesson from grief. Protection starts where dependence ends. So I put the phone on speaker and spoke plainly. "I heard you," I said. "I hear the fear, and I hear the talk about money that always comes when people think they've been left out. So here's what I'm going to do." There was a beat. Voices on the other end expected me to flinch, expected me to apologize and send a check. Instead, I explained how I had structured everything in clear, practical terms. The villa was purchased in my name. The sale is clean. The funds are in a trust. There's an educational fund for your children, Claire, fully funded. There's an annuity for me so I can live comfortably. And there's a transitional stipend for your household, 6 months of rent, moving costs, counseling if you want it. I spoke deliberately, wanting them to hear a grown-up with planning and hard numbers behind every sentence, not the frantic father they could call at any hour for bail or an emotional bandage. There was stunned silence, followed by a sob that sounded like burning shame. You set up a trust? Claire breathed. For my kids? Yes. Entitlement turned inwardly to shame. Their mouths opened and closed around syllables they had spent a lifetime packaging into accusations: selfish, ungrateful, heartless. Now the words felt sticky when they reached their own throats. My mother's next voice was softer, more human. We thought you were fragile after your wife. We didn't see you preparing. We were too busy, my father admitted, quieter and smaller than I had ever heard him. We saw your sacrifices as given. The anger in me softened into strange pity. They had never had to account for the life of another adult. They had never had to be the ones to manage a legacy. Instead, they held on to the belief that love was owed, not earned. They had turned a house into a stage and expected the people on it to perform. Claire started crying again, not theatrically this time, just raw and small. What do you want? She asked, the question we always hide behind demands. I sat on the balcony railing. The ocean was steady, indifferent, and gloriously honest. I don't want to start a war, I said. I don't want to put anyone out. I want respect, for me, for my choices, for the quiet work I did that you never noticed. I'll help ensure your kids are taken care of. I'll provide a soft landing if you want it. But I am not your bank. I am not a checkbox. If you want my life, you have to learn how to ask, not take. There were more calls, more pleas, more threats. But beneath them, a change had begun. My father's voice came through later that night, small, regretful. I didn't know, he said. I thought you needed help. I didn't know you were building a life. I let him say what he needed to say. I didn't promise anything I couldn't keep. But I did say one thing. If you want to be part of this life, be kind, be accountable, and be present without demanding credit. After I hung up, I watched the ocean for a long time, feeling the lightness that comes from maintaining boundaries and reclaiming dignity. They noticed me for the first time, not as someone to support or scold, but as someone who had built something intentionally. I left their messages unanswered until morning. I didn't need their validation to sleep. I had my villa. I had the knowledge that, for once, I hadn't given everything away. And in the morning, when they called again, this time quieter, more cautious, I answered.